but how has your day been so far?
It has been fantastic. We just got back from the 2-week tour about a couple of days ago, so
Oh
we've just been
my
kind
gosh.
of relaxing a little bit. But then we have a show tomorrow in Tampa, and then Friday in Orlando, and then
Oh,
Saturday up in Jacksonville. So it's like,
yeah, so you're traveling all around the state still, even if you aren't up and down. I am originally
yeah,
from Boston, Massachusetts, and so I had some
ooh,
friends who were at your show at the Middle East,
yeah.
maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that, and they had a great time, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be interviewing them soon. So,
That show was wild. That was the first show ever that the rest of us had ever looked around. Like, I looked, so me and Eddie are right next to each other, and so we would look at each other, and at one point it's like, it's so loud is what we said to each other, because like you could hear everybody just cheering, and like everybody knew the words to the songs, and it was just crazy being there. So great
yeah,
show. Love Boston.
that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, that was actually one of the first things one of my first questions I was going to ask, since this is your kind of, is this your first tour that's outside of the Southeastern United States?
So we'd been up before. We've made it to like all the corners, so California and then up to New York in the past. But this was the first time we actually had like our own tour, headlining shows, sold out shows, like a real deal with it.
So when you knew people were there to see you specifically, which I'm sure is a really exciting kind of feeling to have, especially after a little bit of overnight success over COVID. So how
mm-hmm.
was that after having released your first album? You released a couple singles. They go huge on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
How has that kind of been for you and for the group as a whole?
Well, it's been, I mean, as a whole, it's been life-changing and just awesome in every sort of way. Everybody in the band individually has always just wanted to say that they can play and perform for as many people as possible, and just bring what we love to do to as many people as we can. And so it was just, we got to do that. And then these past tours, we've got to do it more so and more so. But the entire going through COVID and leading to where we are now, I would say wasn't really surprising. Like Eddie, we were in Nashville playing a couple shows, and somebody had asked the same question. It's like, yeah, with this recent success, like, how's it felt? And it's felt kind of awesome, but like not surprising. We worked really hard, especially through COVID. You know, I can remember every Monday we still got on our calls with the band, and we got together when we could, and instead of maybe focusing on going on touring or doing this or that, it was like, well, let's just share this really cool music with as many people as we can. And so that kind of took off. And so, yeah, we'd released the album, and then it was like a year later that we really got to kind of share it with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
so because of that, I mean, a big thing in the music industry, obviously, is sophomore slump, being nervous about your sophomore album. But I mean, I would say that you guys kind of surpassed that really easily. I know that it's gotten super popular, and there have been a few singles off of that they're in the millions on Spotify in terms of listens. So that has to feel good, especially if you've been working so hard at it.
We have this rule in the band that we won't ever release a song unless every single person is happy with the track. And so, like, the whole album, when it came out, everybody, we love listening to the album because we love every song from start to finish. So it was like just a matter of time before everybody else heard the rest of it, and that was cool. So
yeah, that's super cool. So in terms of the album, you have a larger group, and so getting everyone to be in agreement on a song probably takes some time. Are there songs that you remember that seem to come together a lot more quickly? Or are there songs that took a lot longer to get everyone on the same page with?
Geez, that's a great question. So the second album is like a hodge podge of like so many different songs, because some of them, like, there were a couple songs, and Eddie, you can ask him directly if you want, but like a couple of those songs were supposed to be on because we had to the first album, but it didn't make it, so I got put on this one. So there's some songs on there that we'd been playing, we'd already known about. And then there are other ones that, and I guess I'll give you a little tidbit, but Summertime Sing Along Vibe used to be a completely different song. That was the song we'd been working on kind of while we were on tour before we recorded the album on Memorial Day. It was like, we'd called it Tom Petty or something like that. We got in the studio, we ended up not wanting or liking that version, so we worked on it some more, and then eventually we came out with Summertime Sing Along Vibe. And it's, I would say, varying between maybe knowing it already for years to knowing it and taking 3 months to write it out.
Okay. So yeah, there's a range there.
Mm-hmm.
I always find it interesting when artists that I like release a song after having worked on it for, years, or had it in the back burner, and then finally feel like, oh, sorry.
Hey, you're okay.
Finally feel like they're happy with what they have. And I think that's a complex part of it, is not, I don't think there's any manual or guidebook for when a song is ready to be released. Probably the arts would be a lot easier if there were.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, for sure. Be a lot more music out there.
Yeah, there would be, and a lot more bad music probably too.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe we're lucky that that's not the case. Sorry, I'm just going to arrange my desk as kind of, this
okay.
stuff I had here was was a little bit more precarious than I originally thought.
It's okay.
Give you a second here. But my next song, oh my gosh, next question about your songs is a little bit more about your personal songwriting process, or what you have, how you play a role in when you're producing or coming up with your songs.
So Eddie's our primary songwriter, and the cool thing about how the 502s write songs is that it's a communal effort. Again, I think a lot of that is how we're able to, as 5 and 6 dudes, agree that this is a good song, is that we all had a hand in it, you know? So like, it always starts with a little, you know, just the chords maybe, or maybe the words, whatever is just ready. And then it's, he's gonna hate me for saying this, but it comes out in the form of a voice memo sometimes. And I kid you not, Ed's somewhere in, I think in the thousands now, or upper thousands of like the number of voice memos he has saved on his phone. So sometimes when he tries to open the app, it like crashes his phone. But he'll get on his phone, and for like me, for like the saxophone or like a trumpet part, he'll go la 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 la, and just sing me this, whatever this is, and I'm supposed to take it and be like, okay, got it. But it's this beautiful kind of synergy that happens, because I almost instantly can kind of feel, by proxy of knowing him as a person, knowing the band, what it is he wants to hear, what it is he was singing in his head, and then I translate it into like a cool little part. And so that's how everybody else's part is, you know, the piano or the bass or the drums. It's like, hey, let's sound like this, and then it evolves and becomes what it is eventually on the album. So
Nice. That's so, the collaboration aspect is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
So a little background for you. When did you start playing saxophone?
Oh man, I started primarily because I hated the piano, and I needed something else.
Lessons as a kid, and then
I did, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of forced into it. My mom would hate hearing that, but I didn't want to do the lessons, and so one day I just kind of stopped doing piano lessons. But I saw the saxophone, and I thought it was really cool. I saw people playing it, and I was like, well, if they can play that, I can play that. And so I just started teaching myself the saxophone, and then I joined like bands in high school and middle school, and then I just kept playing after high school in like bands here and there. And then the story of actually how I got into the 502s is kind of funny, and I tell it, so I just want it to be known here, is that they were looking for, when I first joined, because we needed a trumpet player. Kaylee was is still the original trumpet player for the band. She ended up having a little baby, a little home of her own, and obviously her husband, and so she couldn't make it out on tour, so the 502s needed a horn player. And so I show up to practice with my saxophones, and it's weird because there's never been a saxophone in the 502. Like, how's this going to work out? But then I went on tour, and it sounded nice. People kind of dug it, and so I just kept playing, and I kept going around, and now I play both, because I promised Eddie that when I joined, and we were just looking at texts like from 2018 when I first, or 2017 when I first mentioned I would play with him, about how badly I wish I could have the time to learn how to play trumpet. And it's funny now, fast forwarding like 5 years later, and I do, and it's like one full circle now. So
that is nice. Yeah, it's fun to be able to, once you learn one, to be able to kind of switch and self-teach from the other one. Yeah, I have appreciation for musicians. My little sister is actually studying music here at the university. And she plays a little bit of everything. She started off playing trombone. Now she plays tuba and upright bass and electric bass.
That's fantastic.
She's a voice performance major. She is all the music. I appreciate it, but I do not do it. So it's pretty cool.
That's okay, because if it wasn't for people like you, we wouldn't be able to play music. You need that balance, you know?
Yes, exactly. You need someone there to sit there and listen and clap, right? That's and so when you think of the 502s specifically, obviously there's a lot of good blurbs, but what genre would you consider yourselves in? I was trying to figure out where exactly you fall. Obviously you're still indie, still a little bit of pop, but there's also that kind of stomp clap of Monsters and Men, Lumineers type genre. How would you describe the kind of music y'all make?
I think we've always believed it, and I think just the more and more we say it, the more and more it'll eventually be like a true genre, maybe on Spotify. So I'm hoping that's the thing. But happy folk, you know, they've told us, we've heard about like the folk revival, Lumineers, Mumford and Sons, but we've heard people go, but you guys aren't them. You guys are different. You're happier. And so I was like, well, that's, I guess what it is. It's just happy folk. So
I like that. That's good. Okay, well then we will sort you into that category. Maybe one of the pioneers of the happy folk movement.
That's right.
the mid 20s, when we needed when COVID was bad and we needed happiness.
Yeah, exactly.
Came in. So we talked a little bit about you guys kind of coming up overnight, and you were a part of the band before that boom. what was it like trying to create music once you knew that you had a couple really strong songs? Was it harder to kind of come up with new things, or did you feel like you're repeating the old sound, kind of following the algorithm, but also trying to make things that are true to what y'all like doing?
I think I love that question. We like playing happy music, simple music, easy music almost. And not to say that our music is simple in any way, but it's just that the feeling of when you're at a show and you can sway to the beat or clap your hands or stomp or shut your eyes and just feel the music and just feel good. Like if you have that vibe, and it's cool because whether it's a slow and sad song, like you could talk about Magdalene or or that same slowness and sadness like Viola Sororia, like it still makes you feel a certain happiness, almost like a catharsis. So I think that's where that comes from, is that just we started seeing the different songs hit people in different ways. Like just a little while you see TikTok and it's like reliving, break or talking about vacations. And that was the whole point, and that's what we think about. And that's how writing songs has been more about the feeling. It's always been about the feeling. So
Right. Oh, I really like that. I really like that
mm-hmm.
message. Um, you're happy folk. You come from
Flux.
this from from the South. What influence do you think that being from Florida has had on you as a group and has like on your mentality?
We're used to sweating really really badly. So like me and Eddie, well, we did P90X, which is like a little workout routine for a while, and we it was around after like 2018 we went to Europe, and then we came back and we are like, you know what, let's get healthy and let's get fit. And it kind of all kind of snowballed as COVID, and we stuck to quarantine, but a lot of it was just the happiness of being able to play with each other. And I'm sorry, I actually completely forgot what your question was because I got to thinking about the working out.
No, no,
But
no, no worries. I was asking about the influence you think that being from Florida has on your music.
oh, and the sweating. Yeah. I think it's just we're down southern boys that like the beach, and we like the party, not crazy party vibe, but just a good time, a cookout with your friends, just
Right,
that
the
whole thing.
group thing that goes until 3 a.m. and suddenly you're like,
Yeah.
what's going
You
on? We've
you
been out.
start the day with like a pina colada at the beach, and you end up at like a campfire singing along with your best friends. Like, could it get better than this? Which is why we named it that. It's like, could it? Yeah, of course. But we're here now and we're happy about it. So.
Right. Yeah. What's been the most unexpected part of this journey, and what's been the most unexpected part of being a part of the 502s for you?
Oh man. So the first part to that is just how quickly and surreal everything feels. So like anybody that plays music with intent to share their music with the world is gonna at one point think to themselves, man, I don't know how long it's gonna take to get here, but I'm just gonna keep trying every day until I do. So that's huge. Everybody, and that's pivotal and critical to being successful. But when it starts happening and like you see it in front of you, like you play shows and you've been there, you might like Boston. We'd never been to Boston before. We knew it was cool because we could hear it, we saw it, but little did we know we would show up and the entire crowd is filled with people that we love, and it's almost like we know, but we've never met before. And that was something that we've always wanted and didn't know we were going to get. And then when we're checked with it now in the face, it's like the most incredible thing and feeling ever. And it's humbling, I would say. And then for me personally, it's like my mom told me never stop playing, and she meant that more as in like playing the instruments, but I took that as in like playing games or playing sports or playing around. But that kind of led to the being happy. And so I think internally, one of the things is I reflect on a lot is how much different and better and happier I am. And I think that's just by nature of being with these five other dudes and experiencing the ability to do what we all love to do for others on a regular basis. There's there's nothing that really kind of compares to that and how it's changed my life now. Because even if everything stopped right here, this was it. This was the height of our lives. I would be very happy. So
That's awesome.
mm-hmm.
That's really special. Yeah, I think growth like that is pretty crazy. So we talked about Boston a little bit. Do you have a favorite venue you played so far? Favorite concert?
Oh man. So I guess New York. It's crazy because this past tour, we lived the night of our lives every night for like 10 nights in a row. It's like, and I say that because it just got better and better, and not better because the show sounded better, or the lights got cooler, or the venue got bigger. It had nothing to do with that. It was just that it was like the snowball effect of feeling, oh my gosh, there's people I've wanted to meet for forever, I've never met before, and all these people that know the lyrics to our songs, seeing more and more of them and singing along with them and meeting them each and every night. It's like we were spending more and more time at the end of shows hanging out at the venue, but not to necessarily like party or hang out, but to like literally try to talk to everybody. But if I had to answer, it would be New York. We played that and it was recorded live, and it was just a really wide room. And one of my favorite things is when we get to play and you see the whole band kind of splayed out forward front, like this is the 502s. And it's just really cool when you're in a room that's wide to be like on the stage and then the whole room be just as wide and like you're looking down, and it just felt great. It sounded great. Memories, core memories, like the movie Inside Out. I like to think about that when we play really awesome shows. So
That's awesome. Okay, well, we'll let New York have that, I guess.
yeah, sorry. I know I thought about it when I said it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll let it slide. On that, do you have a favorite song to perform? And then do you have a favorite song, if it's different, just like the favorite song of yours?
Oh man, to perform the 502 song, I love all of them, but there's something special about Hi There Hello,
Okay.
which was on the original EP and then got converted again as like one of the new songs. So like again, a song we've had for a long time, but now is finally out. Because when we play it live, I think it incorporates everything that I personally love about the 502s, just the loud, the clapping, the group singing, the horns, there's stomping, and you just feel good. It's like a party anthem. And that's and then there's You Belong, which is a really special song with me, because that song, I cannot tell you the number of times I've actually teared up. All right, so I used to cycle hard. There's something called the Century Ride, where you ride 100 miles on a bike. And so by like the 92nd mile, I was dying. And so I was like, you know what, let me put on the 502's album. This will cheer me up the rest of the 8 miles. And like You Belong hits, and you just start crying, because it's like there's this like 15 to 20-second interlude with Eddie's grandpa saying, like, you go get him, kid, you belong, like make it happen. And it's just that right there will forever have like a moment, because it's exactly what we're doing now. You know, live the moment. You never know, so make it happen. So that's that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I do have to say, I am a big fan of the Magdalene live version.
Yes.
But I'm a live version person. I don't know if you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with Anderson East.
I know, it's absolutely love Anderson.
Yeah.
East.
So
Yeah.
he released an album, Alive, in Nashville, I believe. That's all live music. It's like
Sure.
Is, I think it's 15 songs, and
Sure.
they're the same as the songs on the album, but I like
They're live.
when I pick them for my radio show. There's something about the environment there that I really like. So I like live. So that's my nudge to say that you guys should release a whole live album, because I think that would be tons of fun.
You know what? I think we might just do that for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. In the liner notes, you can write, okay, Isabel told us to do this, so thank you to her. Yeah, that's great. And so we're looking forward to having you here for St. Pat's and 5 Points. It's obviously not a huge festival, but there are different artists. You're like just just below the headliners. The headliners are 2 pretty big bands, though, Surfaces and Blues Traveler. And so are you looking into doing more festivals in the future? Is that something that 502s would want to be a part of? I feel like it definitely fits with your overall kind of aesthetic and vision and mission for the band. But is that on the horizon?
Yes, and the simplest answer is because sometimes, like this past tour, every show was sold out, and it's like, it's awesome, but it's also kind of sad, because it's like I can't get 5,000 people in one place at one time to all party together. But the festivals and bigger venues kind of open us up to that. So for that purpose, yes. And I won't say anything, but I would say that we're excited to play a couple this year. So
that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big fan of festivals, just because I feel like you get to not only see a lot of people that you're excited about, but I feel like there's a lot of music discovery that happens at music festivals. You're walking by, you hear someone who might be at the very, lowest part of the roster, but you walk by and think, oh my gosh, they're really good. And, suddenly they have, 5,000 or 6,000 new people who might be checking them out the next day. So that is special.
Sure.
And I know this is a classic question for people who are in, but what are you listening to right now? What's on repeat in your head?
Ooh. Oh man, that's wild. Okay, Alan Stone, his latest release, Apart, which is just an acoustic live, or an acoustic version of several of his tracks. And he came to Orlando maybe 3-4 weeks ago. I was supposed to go see him, and I was just actually talking to somebody about how he had this like super cool VIP experience where you could like meet him.
Yeah.
but he's in my head because I love his vocals and the way his voice sounds. And when I listen to him, it reminds me of kind of thinking about like Eddie and his voice and like the kind of the sound we have and how that kind of has a uniqueness to it, which is what some people have said they enjoy. But that's why and the way I sing is I've always believed my role in the backup vocals, because there's Eddie and then me and Matthew's support is the main harmony, and then there's Jake and Nick will also sing. But it's like I've always looked at myself as the soft voice, or like the blues, the R&B one, and then everybody's got their little tidbit, and you wonder to yourself, well, how's the country boy, the folk boy, the smooth R&B singer, and then like the low bass guy in the back gonna sing a song in harmony and make it sound beautiful, and then we do it live, and it's like we're happy to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you like singing harmony?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love singing in general, and as does the whole band. That's why when you come to a show, everybody's singing, because that's what you should be doing. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in the right key. It doesn't matter if you can. It's like shower singing is an artwork, and I hate anybody who's like, I can only sing in the shower, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
And you're singing, yeah.
You're still singing. But yeah, I do. I like also doubling, just literally singing the same exact thing, because it's
That still provides a really interesting sound, because no two voices are the same. So the layering there is really special too. I'm a fan. I was raised on a lot of close harmonies, like the Everly Brothers, that kind of very close, like, I guess, voice or voices that kind of, for some reason, can kind of scratch the itch in your brain a little bit. So I think it's always fun to have layers when you're listening to a group.
Me and Eddie's favorite bands are like, well, not our favorite bands that we like songs from, we've kind of shared discovery of and pitched songs back and forth to, are like Wild Rivers, if you've heard of them, and then Camp. A lot of these, like, and then some of his favorite artists that became my favorite artists are like the Staves, and so anything with like harmony or vocal layering is such a cool thing.
Yeah, it really is. And I have so many questions. I'm just making sure I can get through all of them.
For sure.
Is there a hobby or interest that you have outside of music that you think informs how you are as a musician, right? Because most people who make music are creative people in general, but that doesn't have to be something creative. So if there's, you mentioned cycling, if that's a big part of your life, or some other hobby that you think kind of provides influence and informs who you are as an artist.
Yeah, I would say the answer to this is huge, because everybody in the band has their thing that keeps, so like obviously there's the mental endurance and playing shows every night, and so me and Eddie and the band in general will be hopping around that full 75 minutes of the set, and that's a cardio workout. If you're singing, you're playing instruments, and so like me and Eddie will work out every morning, and then a lot of the times on tour, but so I was mentioning P90X, that's the thing. So I think our personal health in life. So Nick, works out every day. Matthew works out. Sean and I do yoga. That's our big hobby, I would say. We do yoga literally. We could do 2 or 3 hours of yoga a day, and it's just,
that sounds really nice.
Yeah, that's right. when we're on tour, it's kind of cool because everybody has their personal time, and so like that's when I'll go off and I'll do a little flow by myself, or that's when Ed will go, do a back and biceps off of the swing pole and start doing pull-ups, and Nick brings his 100-pound little heavyweights that he likes to wear. So it's like the hobby is to stay fit, because we found that staying fit helps in, playing a better show. So it's like they work together.
Yeah, even the cardio, but also just breath control. I mean, there's a lot of athleticism that goes into performing, which I don't think people necessarily recognize. But especially when you are stomping and clapping and playing an instrument and singing, I'm sure it's so
it's a lot.
So yeah, that is a lot. So you said do you have 3 more shows down in Florida before you come up here next week?
We've got it's gonna be cool because these are all Florida. Florida dates are always fun to play, but Tampa's been nice to play, and it's so close to St. Pete, which we really like. So those are there. And then Florida home show is always good. We hadn't played in Orlando since I want to say last year. Time's flown so quick, but it's always nice to be at home. And then Jacksonville's a little pocket of fun we have too. So
yeah, I have a feeling a hometown show, especially if you haven't played in a while, will be a ton of fun. Yeah, and then I guess one of the last questions is, you mentioned how much you like hearing other people know the lyrics to your songs, which I feel like pretty surreal. As an artist and as a part of a collective. Is there any lyric in particular that sticks with you?
Oh yeah.
A favorite phrase, if you had to tattoo something on your body, what would and it had to be a 502 lyric, what's the one that grabs you?
If I had to tattoo something, man, I would. It's gonna sound kind of funny. I'd probably tattoo an entire chorus of "Like My Father." Like
Okay.
My Father, when we play live, for about a tour and a half season worth, we would cold open the audience with a 3-part harmony between me, Nick, and Ed, and it would be "Tell me what you want to be, anything you want to see, anywhere you want to go, and I'll go with you now." And it's talking about, you know, just the exploration of life as a child, and to those idols you look up to, your father, your grandfather, your grandmother, and seeing where they went. And the song reflects a life about taking it and being your own, living it in the good graces of those around you, and always reflecting on the good that was given to you, and all of that, but living it to your best and being the best you can be. That right there, I would get tattooed on my forehead.
Okay,
So
perfect.
yeah.
We'll hold you to that for
Yep.
sure. Okay, and then I guess the last question: as you're touring, as you're maybe in some festivals, who is your dream collaborator? Who would you love to bring on, maybe do a feature with, or
Oh gosh.
artist that you would want to work with?
Oh gosh, the Avett Brothers. The Avett Brothers, primarily because it's Eddie's favorite band.
Okay.
Tried and true. Knows the lyrics to every one of their songs. Goes to as many shows as they can. And when I first joined, even before I first joined, a couple of years when the band started, I'd always dreamed to just be playing a show, co-headline with the Avett Brothers at Red Rocks. That was the dream.
That
And
would
so
be, yeah,
that's
beautiful.
a little kind of, it's not a side joke. It's like a side almost mantra at this point, is that we'll say to the moon, or can't wait till we play Red Rocks, or Red Rocks with the Avett Brothers, New Year's Eve classic. And it's like, those are all things that have never left. They've always existed, and they always will, like the underlying current. But that is the dream that we hope to
Okay,
get. So
awesome. Well, I can't wait. Sounds like it'll be a really great concert.
I think so too.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to
Yeah.
be working on this, and hopefully we'll have it published in the middle of the week next week before y'all end up here. I'm very excited. I already have my tickets to St. Pat's, so I'll be waving for sure. And I might air a clip of this on my radio show on Friday morning. I'm on every Friday from 8 to 10 a.m.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's pleasure, and we're always happy to support some really awesome up and coming musicians at WUSC-FM. And so it's been really great to talk to you, Joe.
Hey, you too. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, thanks. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.